Charlie Kirk's memorial was last Sunday, and it has America talking about faith. And before we descend into calling for war and labeling our enemies evil, I'd like to stop and consider the ripple effect of this moment. Because something happened when Charlie was violently assassinated in front of the whole world. There's been a lot of talk of a revival. This word has been thrown around a lot this past week. More than 100 million people across the world streamed Charlie Kirk's memorial. According to Turning Point spokesman, their tech partners tracked over 277,000 devices in and around State Farm Stadium the day of the event. Thousands of people have commented that this event and or Charlie's assassination brought them back to their faith or opened the door to it for the first time ever. One comment on a recent dumpster fire read, "After being a lifelong atheist, I attended church for the first time on Sunday, partly because of Charlie's assassination, partly because of the demons celebrating his death." Allie Beth Stuckey, a Christian conservative author and podcaster, asked her audience, "If you became a Christian after watching or listening to Charlie Kirk, please reply below with some of your story." She said this on X, and she received hundreds of messages. One person said, "I was raised secular, never baptized, but Charlie, and especially what's happened in the last 2 weeks, have really made my wife and I look inward. I'm not particularly spiritual, but I'm really thinking about attending church for my daughter and her future." As I said on X, to quite a bit of pushback, I'm seeing the media try to grapple with what happened yesterday, and it dawns on me that they have no framework for this. If anyone in America has lacked representation, it's people of faith. Belief in God has been mocked and trivialized. It's a punchline at best. Of course, elites can't understand or relate to the aesthetic. It's the same reason they had to go to rural diners after Trump won in 2016 like they were going to the zoo. It's a large part of America that exists that people in media and entertainment would prefer to ignore. Admittedly, it was a spectacle. Charlie liked spectacle. He liked pyrotechnics, so they honored him by having them at his memorial. And as there were so many people who wanted to attend, it was in a stadium, a dream of Charlie's. So people were moved by the music, and they were also wandering around eating nachos. There was a mega church meets influencer vibe with a lineup of speakers ranging from the phenomenal pastor Frank Turek to podcaster Benny Johnson. And then, of course, were all the politicians mixed in. Marco Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard, Susan Wiles, as JD Vance was there. And as he said, "I have talked more about Jesus Christ in the past 2 weeks than I have in my entire time in public life." And then there was his wife, Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk gave a moving, now very viral speech forgiving the young man who killed her husband and father to their kids. It was a living testament to what Christianity preaches. Forgive us our trespasses and forgive as we forgive those who trespass against us. Most people were moved by it. Other people thought she was acting. And then there was the grand finale, Trump, who just couldn't help being Trump. In between joking about how he hates his opponents, he teased an autism announcement and talked about tariffs. It was like he kept forgetting he was at a funeral and would randomly say Charlie to remind himself. So when a friend who had only seen clips of it said she felt like the whole thing was psychotic, I totally get it. I understand reacting to it negatively because it's a mediated mashup of cults of personality, politics, and gospel. It can be hard to separate that message from the messenger. And if you already hate MAGA, well, you're really going to hate this. And I get the instinct to resist it all. Thomas Chatterton Williams said to Much Dunking, "I've spent half of my adult life living in one foreign country or another, and I don't think I've ever felt so estranged from the surrounding culture as I am from the aesthetics and sensibilities of this movement. Not even a criticism, I just feel more at home in Greece than in these images." I get that too. It's also a long-winded way of saying you're a snob. But my Gen X mind cannot comprehend this madness for a completely different reason. Charlie was speaking to kids in college when he was killed, and he was huge in that demographic. He was much bigger than I think most people realized or even realize still. He was changing the hearts and minds of the youth because he was taking the time to do the outreach. But what truly boggles my mind as a dirtbag Gen Xer is that young people are now drinking and trying to get laid, This isn't something I have a framework for. The culture is so degenerate. The kids are rebelling by going to church and voting Republican. This is new. It's crazy, but it also says a lot about what's going on in America right now. And Charlie was doing the work. He was reaching out to these kids. He was a living example of the ideals this country was built upon. But more than that, he was converting hearts and minds to Christianity. Politics and faith are woven into the fabric of our nation. Charlie knew how to parse this and use it to inspire young people, to give them meaning. Navigating the intersection of faith and politics requires wisdom and restraint, which Charlie had in spades. When faith informs politics without dominating it, it can inspire ethical governance and compassion. But when either seeks to control the other, the results can be exclusionary or authoritarian, as we've seen in the past. Millions of people have also been hurt by the church, and historically, we've seen many religious wars that continue to play out today. So, again, I get people's kind of aversion to it. I've dealt with this myself in my own long journey with faith, which I'm not going to bore you with right now. Faith and politics will continue to shape each other for better or worse and demand ongoing dialogue to foster mutual respect and shared purpose. But this mutual respect was violated when Charlie was murdered. Something broke. I still can't believe it. And I don't think there is a big enough personality to hold this tension quite like Charlie did, because he was truly grounded in his faith. He was able to foster conversations with people with whom he disagreed. He truly believed we were all children of God, and he outsourced that judgment to God. There's something incredibly powerful about the example that he set. And the more I think about faith, the less it makes sense to me. And I'm curious to hear from you. What is it? What is faith to you? How do we navigate the intersection of politics and faith? How do we bring this nation together? Do we need faith to keep America together?